This is Des Plays, and welcome back to Fallout 4 for a quick look at, if you're a fan of settlement building like I am, the most game-changing mod I've seen since snappable junk fences. I'm talking about the Conquest Build New Settlements and Camping mod by Chesko. In a nutshell, Conquest allows you to first build a campsite where you can cook or sleep to recharge while on the road, and then either pack it all up and move on, or upgrade your campsite for a completely new settlement. Have you ever come across an area of the game and thought, I wish I could build a settlement here? Well, if you're like me, then you have, and this is the mod that we've been waiting for. But while you're waiting for that download to finish, stick around and I'll tell you about some of the things that I've learned so far. To get started on your campsite, open your Pip-Boy, and in your inventory under Aid, select the item Action Build Campsite. Exit the Pip-Boy and place the duffel bag on the ground to start setting up your campsite. Add a fire, a cooking pot, and a sleeping bag to satisfy all your immersive needs. In campsite mode, you will only be able to scrap the campsite items that you've placed, so it's important to make sure that you have the items necessary for the various recipes. If you've grown particularly fond of your campsite, you can upgrade it to a full settlement by opening the camping menu, going to Expansion, and building the workshop. Once you've placed the workshop, the game time will advance a little bit, and then you'll be given options for naming your new settlements. We can build up to 10 new settlements at one time with this mod, which is why we have 10 options for names. Having picked a name for your new settlement, you can get about the business of scrapping and building as you would normally. Personally, I use the spring cleaning mod in order to pick up the debris, garbage, and other objects which are not normally scrappable. If spring cleaning isn't working with this mod for you, you may have to add the line BU's combined objects equals 0 under the general area of your Fallout 4 INI. I can't say for sure if this is necessary for spring cleaning to work with Conquest, but I already had this enabled for a different mod, and I had no issues getting spring cleaning to work correctly. I also can't say for certain, but from what I've read, this step isn't necessary if you use scrap everything. Your mileage may vary. The workshop will be the center of your settlement, and as you can see, the build area is quite significant, probably bigger than the castle, I would say. If you're not happy with where you place the workshop or decide that you'd rather build somewhere else, you can go back to the workshop and select the option to dissolve the settlement. Any items you scrapped will not return, and any items you've built will remain, and the workshop inventory will be transferred to you. This is useful if you want to put a workshop down just to gather supplies or clean up the wasteland. Just be sure to have the necessary inventory room to handle what you've scrapped. Now, unless you're building a Fortress of Solitude to escape Preston, you're going to want to add some settlers to your new town, and there are two ways to go about doing this. The first is to build the recruitment beacon as you would normally. It takes a while for settlers to show up this way, however, they will show up as long as you have the beds, food, etc. to take them in. Alternatively, you could go to one of your nearby settlements and order those settlers to move to your new town. It will take them some time to actually get there, and if you're using mortal settlers like I am, don't expect all of them to make it. Of the 4 that I sent from Jamaica Plains to the Adam Cat's garage, only one of them actually made it. So personally, I would recommend sticking with the recruitment beacon, but if your other towns are already bursting at the seams, the move option definitely works with this mod. Once you've moved or attracted some settlers to your new town, the next step is to set up a supply line, which you do as you would normally. The only thing to note about the supply line is that once set up, the game will have to check the supply line every time you open the workshop. This can take a few seconds up to almost a minute, at which time it will close and reopen the workshop menu, giving you access to the materials in all your connected settlements. In my opinion, the fact that the supply lines actually function with this mod is amazing, and I have no problem waiting an extra few seconds for that. After finding this, my first concern was, does this happen in my vanilla settlements when I'm opening and closing the workshop? And the answer is no, it does not. As for where you can put a new settlement, I believe the only limitation currently is that you shouldn't put a new settlement right next to an existing settlement. I have set up the workshop in interiors to scrap for supplies, but I haven't tested how they work with settlers yet. It's also a good idea to take note of what enemies spawn in the area of your settlement and to build your defenses accordingly. Setting up shop in a raider camp, for instance, might not be the best idea, because they will come back. In my new outpost by the Adam Cat's garage, I set up defenses to guard against the Mirelurks and the Major Gutsy that are just at the edge of the settlement. However, I didn't take into account that the Brotherhood likes to fight with super mutants just up the road. Now, my settlers, seeing the Brotherhood in trouble, charged in to help, which prompted the gunners on the highway to get involved and led to one of the most epic battles I've ever experienced in the 250 hours I've played in Fallout 4. It made the Battle of Bunker Hill look like a tea party, and I might tack that on to the end of this video if you're interested in seeing that. It's early days for this mod, and it's amazing how well it works and how few issues I've run into thus far. In version 1.0, you won't be able to barter with settlers you assign to shops. However, they will man the store and generate income, which you can pick up from the workshop. I was also unable to trade gear with settlers I assigned to shops, although reassigning them to guard, farming, or scavenging, and then reloading seemed to fix this issue. Now my biggest issue with the current version is actually that I can't build my settlers a bar, although I have no doubt that that will be fixed in the future. Anyways, this is one of those mods that I've been waiting for since launch, and I'm amazed how well it functions in its first version, and I can't wait to see what comes next. This is definitely something that if you haven't installed it already, you should at least keep an eye on. Many thanks from me to Chesko for their work on this mod, and don't forget that if you like what Chesko's done here, it only takes a moment of your time to hit that endorse button on the Nexus. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.